Hey everyone, I'm Elizabeth Damron and welcome to Cannabis Multimedia Network. I'm so thrilled and so incredibly excited to be here with John Prinz. Amazing guy, came in from California, visiting here in Boston, really super knowledgeable. I mean, this guy's legendary. And we're gonna take it from here. John, thank you so very much. Tell me, and tell everyone else that's with us today, Patient Zero, how did this come about?
Well, I think this is on.
It's like up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened was I've been disabled since 1992.
Mm-hmm.
I've been treating with my same doctor since 1994 in San Francisco, and he's the one that put me on my opiates. And so something told me after 12 years of using these high levels of Oxycontin, they wanted to do a morphine pump put on me.
Oh, wow.
And I said no. And so basically what I did was I read a book from Harvard professor named Dr. Grinspoon.
He's amazing.
This is the first time
Yeah.
we've been out the East Coast, and we're so happy to come out to give this message that cannabis cured my Oxycontin addiction. And I found out that I was an addict because of the drugs my same doctor I have today prescribed me. So I then taught U.S. Senator Dianne Feinstein the power of cannabis over opiates. And so why I'm talking today in New England Can is so I can bring a message back from California. We've had this written in our California Constitution for almost 23 years. And I want to see Massachusetts and all of the states that have opiate problems, because 4 people die every day in Massachusetts from opiate-related deaths.
Yeah, it's insane. The statistics
So we
are
need
crazy.
funded cannabis here, and the only way we can get it is get Congress to make a 28th Amendment social change, like the 21st Amendment happened in 1933, and then the states have the power. We have state stores, we have state regulations, we need state insurance companies to fund the state patients to get rid of the opiates, and that's why I'm Patient Zero. I'm a survivor. I replaced my drug Oxycontin 14 years ago with high levels of cannabis, and I'm a grower, advocate, and patient. I grow my own to have my own, but my message is out there just trying to help the people in the city are different than the people in the country. And so we have different elements of patients, and we have to help the opiate patients. And cannabis is the cure, because in Dr. Grinspoon's book, Marijuana, the Forbidden Medicine, heroin was replaced by cannabis in 1914. And so I learned I was a heroin addict. They just changed the name to Oxycontin. So come out and hear me speak. I'll be speaking on this cannabis cured my Oxycontin addiction 14 years ago with cannabis on Sunday, 3 o'clock, room 101. I hope to have a lot of people from the East Coast and everyone come out and hear my message, because we have to change this as we the people. Give the states the law right back. Everybody in all the states I know about, we say the same thing, it's the DEA, it's the FDA, it's the CDC. No, it's Congress.
Yeah.
And so Congress on the upper house and lower house, they have to listen to us. They stop the funding of opiates and start funding our medical cannabis we have in the state laws, and we're not going away. It's a social movement.
Right.
And it's
so
the young.
Let me ask you this. You're talking about social movement. It takes me to a time when, I'm physiologically too young, to have been around for the first green wave, and they called us hippies, but the spirit is the same, and they called us hippies in the 60s, and the push was there, and there was it wasn't right as far as governmental oversight and the way that things were in the 60s and with Vietnam going on and things like that. It wasn't the right time per se to have this green rush, to have this green revolution, but now we're back around, and now we have empirical science on our side, and now we have a lot more of the academic, and we have a lot more, like you're saying, you've educated these people, and knowledge is power. And by trade, I'm a scientist. I'll tell you some of my story in a second, but tell, and I'm curious, you don't have to, I'm not saying demanding, tell me, but mostly for everyone else watching who isn't really as familiar with it, the importance of educating these people and to push this movement, that it's destigmatized, that it's not, we're not just smoking weed, man, it's
no
different.
So you go back to the people, the hippies, the movement, the ones that got us our California law. And there's probably the biggest advocate on the East Coast lives in California. And a lot of people don't know who he is. In 1972, I believe, he was born. He's from Rhode Island, and everyone out there should look and Google who Todd McCormick is. Now, Todd was a kid in Rhode Island on cancer, and he started using cannabis, I believe, at 9 years old. So it's been medicine for a long time. We all know that use it as medicine over any of the opiates. It is medicine. It's the people we're trying to educate out there that don't know it is. And so Todd is from the East Coast. He knew a gentleman named Jack Hare. Jack wrote a book called Emperor Wears No Clothes.
Jack Hare, who's that guy? Anybody know who that
Jack
guy
Hare,
is?
Yeah, so LV Music, she's a personal friend of me and my wife, Robin. LV is one of the federal patients that get 300 cannabis cigarettes mailed to her. Well, she gets it from the federal government, grown in the state of Mississippi since 1988. I've met a lot of young people out here, and it's the young that are 24, I say young, 24, the 20, 34-year-olds. The young, I tell them one thing.
What?
Don't vote for an old politician, not even my age of 57. Vote for the young, get the power, because Jack Hare and Dennis Perone, they're the ones that had a lot of voters behind them, and we would find out what they wanted us to vote for, because it's really social movement. And we can't forget the ones that were here before. They would be happy to see that we have a federal farm bill. But we need a social movement. I'm trying to get this out there, the 28th Amendment in our Constitution, written in our federal Constitution, that like alcohol in 1933, we'll never lose our alcohol rights to the state.
No, this is true.
Do we regulate it in the state of Massachusetts?
Of course.
Yes. So we need
Why not tax and regulate cannabis, right?
Patients. I have a state card, insurance card in my pocket right now. If I was coming to Boston, I would love to go to my local store and get my state-funded cannabis, because we're Americans. We are Americans. I'm from California. Why I speak so much is because we're the 5th biggest economy. California made $165 million in taxes. We have a new law out there. Google it. California, it's called SB Senate Bill 94, and it's 105 pages. It's regulation. So I'm trying to convince a Health and Safety Code, California law, Health and Safety Code 11362.75D as in dog. I get that moved out of California law.
Did everyone get that?
I get that moved out of California law in my insurance company, Liberty Mutual. They funded my opiates. For 12 years, I've saved them $1 million.
Of course they funded your opiates.
I wanted my cannabis. If I get this one change in state law, they'll fund my cannabis in California. They did this in New Mexico. They're doing it in New Jersey. We need the federal government to move out of the way and let our states be ran the way we want to run it.
Yeah.
So that's my message here at New England Can. And I hope to get it out and the message to be strong. And so thank you for giving me this opportunity to be interviewed. And
oh my gosh, thank you. I'm so excited to have talked to you. And I have so many questions for you. So let me tell you this. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I retired from the Marine Corps in 2014, and I'm
well, thank you for your service.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's what, I have a lot of vets and out here that I met in Portland, and this Robert Kowalski belongs in this stigma, an Ohio vet. And I tell you, I speak out loud because the vets are dying 22 a day.
Yes.
And the opiate pain patients are dying 125 a day. But you guys fought for our freedom, and I got to fight for your freedom because I have a voice. I believe in the Constitution, freedom of speech. I'm from Northern California that believes in the Second Amendment, because without that, we wouldn't have the First.
This is true. This is very true. So you're familiar with, in talking to veterans and being connected to people like that, you're familiar with not only the statistics, but with the experience, and you know intimately what it's like to be tethered to medication, to be on this pharmaceutical leash. And I was on that leash. I had a 1-gallon storage bag of meds that I took every day for PTSD and for bipolar
Do you
and
have
this and that.
PTSD also?
I do.
So do I.
I do. Yeah. So
Yes.
And so in doing this, and you understand the power, the healing power of the plant.
Yes.
And it's so much more than, it's natural and it's creative, So by trade, after the Marine Corps, I'm a research psychologist, not a clinician, but
No,
in
no.
research, because I like cannabis and I think that it's important for veterans. Excuse me. And like you're saying, and other people who have experienced opiate addiction because of surgeries or because of different traumas and stuff like that, it's not their fault.
Or they
that
took
are
it
now-
one time and the government allowed it to
Exactly.
be taken.
Exactly.
See, without the access of the opiates, we wouldn't have the opiate epidemic. And so in 19 S Bill, a federal bill, S Bill 143, Hawaii, 1987, the senator tried to legalize heroin 7 years out after I was out of high school. They couldn't do it. In 1996, my friend Dennis Perone and a lot of advocates in California, we got our Compassion Use Act written in our Constitution. So that's when I started taking OxyContin, because I didn't know cannabis. I didn't know cannabis worked for pain. I used it for depression and the sickness that the opiates caused me. So I have the same doctor now. He wrote a book. He believes in cannabis, and we have to get the doctors to see all this and to change. Doctors treat patients, and doctors deal with the patients, and the patients, have been, I don't know other word than other lied to, okay? We've been lied to that the opiates were going to be okay.
Yes, yeah.
I lost 20 teeth. They replaced all these smiley teeth.
Fantastic smile.
And the sad part is that the young kid, I say this one question.
Yeah.
If you have pain someday, will have pain someday. So if you had pain right now and had to have 5 back surgeries, what would you take for your pain? Would you reach out for the opiates with everybody knowing what it is now? Or would you search out for cannabis, cannabinoids, whatever and you guys have the medicine. We have the legislation, state laws. We need the federal government, and we need Senator Warren, Senator Cory Booker, all the senators to get out of the way. And if they want our vote in 2020, we need the young kids to see that power and make this a 28th Amendment, and then we'll vote for everybody. We'll vote for the green.
I think, okay, tell me what you think about this. And in answering your question, which is a very interesting question that you pose, and I know as people are watching and as people are walking around, through the conference and stuff like that, I'm sure it would be interesting to see what they say. But I would answer it this way, to your question is, as a veteran, I'm talking to my VA clinician, because I still, go see them. And only just now can we talk to them and not face repercussions. We can actually converse with our primary medical doctor about our cannabis choice, even our interest in this alternative medicine. So now I'm thinking from a scientist. So as a psychologist, I'm thinking, well, I know what's in this. I know what it's going to do. Some medications
How do you
are
convince
necessary.
a vet doctor to allow you to use cannabis? That's the
Well,
question.
you know what? So, well, not necessarily. It's just in answering your question.
Yes.
It's there's two different situations. And even then there's more than that, because you've got people that can't talk to their clinicians. They can't discuss it for fear of repercussion.
Why though?
Exactly.
Why?
We got to find out, because there's regulations in place that prevent that. People don't want to lose benefits. People don't want to lose Medicaid or TRICARE
it's called
or
fear,
whatever.
okay?
I understand
so
that.
everybody can
But
follow.
maybe not everyone
Everyone
understands
can
that.
follow me. I'm on Social Security. I'm on Medicare, and
Let me see your book.
it's not my book.
Oh, that's not yours?
No, it's not my book. But I'm on Social Security and Medicare, federal entities, and 10 years ago I had to tell the truth. And so I had to ask. I called up my friends Dennis Perone, Jack Hare, and LV Musica, and they told me, it's the federal government, John. You cannot tell the federal government. You can't do that. You got to lie. So you know what I knew? I don't lie. So I told the federal government on a form, you let me live on cannabis or you let me die on OxyContin. So what I am, and a lot of vets are, I have PTSD so bad, and my medicine keeps my happiness, keeps my life straight, because I will never go back on opiates. I'll never go back on pharma. And I tell people this, and it might be hard to hear, but I have tried to do what a lot of vets have done. My wife, Robin, saved my life, but I believe I'm what they call intractable pain patient, PTSD, all these different disorders, because I've had 5 back surgeries, but I'm a walking Robin Williams. And the only people that know what that means is a walking Robin Williams. And so
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm totally with you.
So back to the vet question.
Yes.
I support the vets so much that I'm not one. And the way I talk on my Facebook, people think I'm a vet because a vet should be speaking out and not have fear. So I educated my doctor, and he wrote this book. But when
That's
I read
amazing.
my doctor's book, he's the one that calls me patients at a time.
Wow.
In his book, he's been back to Walter Reed's hospital.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
any vet can buy my doctor, Michael H. Moskowitz's book, Medical Cannabis. It's written for the patients in the cities because he's in San Francisco. But he goes back to D.C. to talk to Walter Reed's hospital. He told me a joke one time. He said,
I like
John,
jokes.
I was back in Walter Reed's hospital, and he was talking to all the vet doctors. And he said, I got up there and I said, hey, I can't see any of you because half of them wearing camouflage. So my doctor is a jokester, but I convinced the same doctor that used to give me my
love it.
opiates. I was telling him for years, he's killing us. He's killing us, Smalls. He's killing us.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Yeah.
So tell me this real quick. So did you experience a pushback in talking to your doctor? And again, so let me approach you from just a veteran, from a patient side, right?
Yes.
How was it for you? How was that first experience for you in talking to your doctor, and you're kind of coming clean, if you will, and you're like,
That's a great question.
you're like, hey doc, check it out.
That's a
Like,
great
I want to
question.
live,
Because you just told me a memory, and so my wife over here, Robin, she's my angel and jewel. Okay.
She's amazing, by
And
the
you
way.
met her,
Hi,
and-
Robin.
and so she's kind of behind the scenes for me, and I keep her safe that way because this is crazy. But one year, I believe it was 2006.
Okay.
I used to go all 3.5 hours, 4 hours to my doctor, all the way from where I live to in the country up in Northern California down to San Francisco. And out of respect to my doctor, I never used my plant, never used my medicine, and I would be so much in pain and angry and have an upsetness because I wasn't medicated.
Yeah.
And I left, and I go back to
I
the
know that
hotel,
feeling.
Go back to the hotel. She would medicate me. I was fine. One day, my wife, Robin, said, John, has your doctor ever seen you on pot? I said, no. So I was in the parking lot, and she convinced me to smoke a joint. Now, this is before I developed my strong medicine, because that's revolved into what I've done. So I went out and smoked a joint, smelling like we do. I went in my doctor's office, and he sat me down, and my doctor was open to it because
Really?
he was raised in New York.
Okay.
You said you're from Louisiana.
I'm now native.
Well,
How's that? I'm now native.
Well, my doctor grew up, his college degree for 12 years was in New Orleans. He loves music.
What school did he go to? Do you
He's
know?
a psychiatrist, whatever school of psychiatry they have.
Did he go to
there.
Tulane, maybe? LSU?
No, but he's like
I'm
the world's
interested.
best psychiatrist. I found out years later that I see a psychiatrist. I thought he was just a pain management doctor. So he's like the top guy in the field that he's in San Francisco that go all the way back to Walter Reed's hospital. So my doctors allowed me to use his papers to educate others. So when I smoked
amazing.
that joint for the first time, he sat me down and he said, John, what is the difference? Why are you so happy? Why are you in a good mood? And I said, Doc, this is how I am all the time around my friends. Okay? So I told him
And
the
he's like,
story.
why?
You know what he said?
What?
Never stop smoking it. You come in
kidding.
here, you use that first. You use this first. I have a 75-year-old doctor that operated on Joe Montana. Well, his partner did, Arthur White. But my surgeon that I had for 25 years, he's also in San Francisco. He told me to listen to my psychiatrist and fool my brain and keep using this.
Really?
Because, listen, I'm a
listening.
intractable pain patient.
Right.
You know what that means?
Yes.
Sometimes we fall back and we will go back to go on the opiates. Just give me my pills. I need whatever
hurts so bad.
easiest is. So I asked my surgeon to go around my psychiatrist to give me my opiates back. True story. That was just 3 months ago.
That's hilarious.
And then I get invited to here. And you guys have uplifted me, Boston. I want to relocate, and it's a beautiful place. The people are gorgeous, and
Isn't it great? I have a special place in my heart for Boston. I really do.
I've been to a lot of
it's
these
amazing.
conventions and stuff, and over the years, and never on the East Coast. And I knew
different,
relatives
isn't it?
said that we're going to come out here and meet some really true just true, genuine people, and
Yeah.
that's what you guys are. You remind me of Northern California 40 years ago.
See, I
I
told you.
love the
See,
T-train.
we've come
I
back
love the
around. You know, see
T-train.
what I'm saying? Like, hey, they called us hippies in the '60s, but you know what?
Nah.
This summer is the 50th anniversary of the summer of '69. I'm
you
telling
guys,
you, it's
you
coming.
guys, you
It's
have
coming
your
back.
stuff together here, and
The
I'm glad you're
revolution is
here. and
coming, my
I'm glad
friends.
you're interviewing me. So,
Oh my
no,
gosh,
I
I'm so
appreciate
excited
it.
to talk. I have so many more questions. And we're out of time right now, but let's definitely we'll talk more. We'll educate people.
Thank
I love
you so
it.
much.
Let's do this.
you.
Thank you, everyone who's been watching and people who've been sitting around. And Robin's over there, and she's amazing. Hi. I'm Elizabeth Damron. This is John Prinz, and we have just had the most amazing interview. Thank you so very much again. And we're going to show you some really, really great clips with some excellent interviews. You guys stay tuned and come join us. If you're in the area, come join us at NECANN. Come see what we've got to offer. All right, you guys, take it easy.
Thank you so much.